I'm Linda Logan, Executive Director of the Sports Commission and your host today. And so excited to invite back our friends from the basketball tournament, TBT, Jen Todd, who has just landed in Columbus today. So happy to have you back as one of the co-founders of TBT, and Aaron Craft, who doesn't need a huge introduction in Columbus, former Buckeye and a big team member of Carmen's crew. So welcome to both of you. Just
Thanks.
A few housekeeping notes before we get started. We do have the opportunity for questions at the end. So we're just going to buckle up here and get started. So welcome back, Jen. So happy to have you in Columbus. And I know this is what, our fourth year of hosting the tournament in one form or fashion. So welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for having us here in Columbus. We love playing here, and obviously this year will be a little bit different since we're on the campus of Ohio State at Covelli. But yeah, we love being here.
What makes Columbus a good destination for this tournament? I know there's a lot of Midwestern interest for sure of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, just logistically, I think it's a great central location for a lot of our teams. A lot of our teams are here in the Midwest. I think a little later we'll probably talk about how stacked this region is generally. So, it's obviously an appealing place for a lot of our teams to come. And we've really just gotten, Linda, you and I have gotten to know each other over the 4 or 5 years that we've either been visiting or playing here. And it wasn't a city I knew very well before that, but it's really, it's an appealing city overall too. So I personally love coming back here, and I think our team loves it too. Obviously, a lot of resources on the ground here for us to put on a great event. So appealing for everybody.
So Aaron, I know it must be fun to be playing with some former teammates and legendary Buckeyes in front of a lot of home fans, and we're so great to see you back.
Yeah, no, I'm just super happy to be a part of it. The team has been gracious to allow me to step back out on the floor after so many times. So I'm just really happy about it. Obviously, having in Columbus is huge. We need everyone there Friday at 9. Small plug for people that haven't bought tickets yet, but we're excited about it. It's been great to be back in the gym and be around the guys.
Can you speak a little bit to those rivalries? I think that we've all gotten to see some great games here in Columbus, also on television. So that's part of the fun.
Yeah, for sure. The basketball world is amazing. Once you graduate, the rivalries kind of die out a little bit. You realize everyone's kind of chasing after the same thing, and you want to build each other up. But when you play in the TBT, those rivalries kind of start coming back a little bit. Obviously, with us playing against Dayton, we've had some big games against Xavier in the past as well. And then even in the TBT, you play the same teams, a couple years in a row. So there's always that one up aspect that gives you a little extra energy to play.
Well, I know that in particular last year, such unique circumstances with the pandemic and the fact that the entire tournament was here. I suppose that you all are pleased that you get to go home after a couple of games, right? So not having to be in that bubble. Has that changed how you've trained for an event like this in the new format?
I mean, if there was a bubble and it wasn't in Columbus, I'm not even sure if I would play. So the TBT really helped me out with that. I live a 20-minute drive from the Covelli Center to play and to practice at. They've let us back in the Schottenstein Center. So being able to come back home to my family, I know everyone else on my team, a lot of them do have families and kids that they like to see. So that just kind of made everyone take a sigh of relief and really excited to kind of get back to some type of normalcy.
Jen, can you talk a little bit about the preparation this year? Obviously, all the health and safety protocols are in place, certainly. I think we all learned a lot from our time together last year. You were the first group to be back on national television in that bubble format. I know that a lot of organizations did look to you for advice on how to do that moving forward. You want to speak to not only what you learned from last year, but how you prepared for this year?
Yeah, that could probably be a very long conversation, but basically last year, what we tried to do is wait until sort of the last possible moment to really settle in on our plan. Things were changing so fast. And if you think about last year and where we were at this time, last year we knew so little about COVID, and there weren't any live sports back to really be a model for what we could do. So, everybody in that way, everybody was going through the same protocols last year. Obviously we were in a bubble, everybody was testing. I think as I said, we learned a lot of great things from that. It felt very safe in there actually by the end, which was great. And our plan and all the advice that we had gotten from Johns Hopkins and Dr. Hospital here in Columbus really worked to a T. And so this year, obviously, we're in a really different situation. The preparation from a health safety standpoint has been, obviously, there are a lot of teams that are vaccinated. And so it's sort of more of a hybrid testing model this year. So there are some people who are going through one protocol because they're vaccinated, and others who aren't, who are going through more of a testing protocol. It still layers over everything that we're doing. So we sort of took the same approach of waiting till the last possible moment to really come up with our, sort of the final plan that we were going with. Obviously, we've been thinking about it the entire year. It's crazy. And I'm hoping that in future years, it'll be even less of this going forward.
Yeah, very proud to be partners with you throughout through good times and tough times, and really excited about the competition this weekend. So Erin, I know that when we saw you last year, we thought this was the last time we were going to see you on the court. You're in medical school. I know that our listeners would love to hear more about how that's going now that you've got 1 year under your belt, if you will, and so happy that you decided to come back to play.
Yeah. Like you said, I finished my first year of medical school in May, and they throw you a little bit of a break between the first and second year. So this is my last summer off in the kind of the training and learning process. So like I said before, TBT came to Columbus again. There was no bubble, and I've had the summer off. So it seemed like a perfect storm. But then again, I had to talk to Jared a decent amount. We had a couple conversations about whether or not I could play or should play, if that would work out, if I would be beneficial at all or helpful for the team. And fortunately, he thought I could. So I'm super happy to be back. The TBT has given us another chance to compete together, and I know it last year seemed like the last one, but this is probably the last high competitive basketball games that I'll get a chance to play in. So I want to make the most of it and hopefully play a few games.
So how have you been balancing? You've got a 2-year-old son, you've got medical school, you've got training to do. Are you having some fun doing all of the above, it sounds like?
There are fun moments for sure. It has not been an easy road, to say the least, but the biggest help has been my wife, Amber. The transition from playing to coming back was challenging for all of us, but I think her job has been the most difficult. She stays at home with Owen, so she's chasing around at that time it was an 18-month-old. Now he's 2.5, which is not easy. It's just not an easy thing. I got to do things that I really enjoy. I'm learning things that are helpful, that can change people's lives, and getting to do things that not many people get to do. So I really, really enjoyed the transition for the most part. Throwing in some workouts here and there, I realize working out as a job is a lot easier to stay in shape than it is to find time on your own to get a run in or get a lift in. So that's been a transition for me. But overall, I think it's been a good year. It's been a fun year. And it's been great to be back in Columbus for an extended period of time for the first time in a long time.
And when do you get back to the books?
Day one is August 9th. They actually just put our schedule up on our online platform, and they are not easing us back into second year, to say the least. So I'm going to make the most of these next, 2.5 weeks, because when we start it starts quick.
And you also have some big news for September. Right?
Yeah, thanks. My wife is actually due September 29th. We're going to have a baby girl, and just trying to find a way to make medical school as hard as possible, I think is our biggest goal. but we're excited to be around family. Owen was born in Italy, so didn't have a ton of family around or help, whatever that entails. So both of our parents are within 2 hours, and her sister and brother-in-law live here in Columbus. So we're excited about the challenge. I'm excited about having a baby girl. Have no idea what I'm doing or with a girl, but I'm confident that we can figure it out. And I'm sure I'll be asking a lot of questions like I always do.
Well, I know that your teammates, there's a variety of ages of children throughout the Carmen's
yeah.
crew. Maybe talk a little bit about how it's been, just the camaraderie, and then what should we expect on the court?
Yeah, it is truly remarkable when we sit back, even at practice, and we talk about, we like to joke, we're getting old. A lot of us feel old, but we've really grown up together, since we were 18, 19, I'm now 30. So that's over a decade of us knowing each other, getting along. And I just think that speaks volumes to the culture that Coach Mata built at Ohio State, and what he thought was important. Where I think we see that it really was a brotherhood, a family type atmosphere, and that's carried over. So, and anytime you have a team, just not us, but anyone that gets along off the floor, that are friends, they watched NBA playoffs together. We watched game 6 the other day, about 6 or 7 or 5 or 6 of us. Anytime you have that automatically transfers to the court. So that brings a trust, a belief, I think is hugely important in the game of basketball, and an accountability. I don't think we're afraid to call each other out and let each other know when kind of we let our standard down or let our guard down. So I think, those are the things that you can expect from us, hopefully, after all these, after a year, and then we've added a couple really nice pieces I think that the fans are going to love. And so I'm just excited. The game's at 9, so we'll have to find a way to stay ready to go until then.
Jen, I know that's the magic of the TBT tournament, is just the loyalty of the college sports fans. And I think that you and John really captured that when you created this tournament. And I know Carmen's crew is a great example of that. Maybe talk a little bit about how that plays into the work that you do, Jen.
Well, we didn't mean that to happen necessarily. And I've said this before in other interviews, but, sometimes when you have an idea and, in the entrepreneurial sense, it doesn't actually play out exactly how you planned it from the beginning. In fact, I think it rarely does. But yeah, we kind of felt like we were onto something. Generations of guys from under the same coach or from the same system or school, or even a set of friends who have grown up together can get back on the court together in this format. I can't think of another sort of tournament, or where that happens. And so we sort of realized we were onto that. But this is an open tournament. These teams form themselves. We love to see it. The level of play this year has been unbelievable. I don't know. There's already been, a weekend of in 2 other regions of games where there's been at least 4 or 5 last minute shots. Everyone is like heart attack inducing just as a fan. So it's been great. And, we love this team. They've played several times and we've gotten to know them really well. And we look forward to seeing everybody every summer. But yeah, it's not something we plan for. It is, it's truly open, and but it's awesome to watch.
Well, I do feel like the sophistication of the TBT fan has changed too. We all know about the Elam endings, and whether it's the NCAA or the NBA, they've all taken bits and pieces of some of the work that you've done. So that must be a big pride point for all of you to see how the tournament's grown and how the fan base has grown.
Yeah, we started in 2014 with literally no marketing budget or nor a marketing person on our team. But yeah, the fan base, I think they're diehard basketball fans. They appreciate that these guys are playing for each other, for something with, high stakes, something with meaning. That translates, as Aaron was just saying, that translates to the court. You can feel it. It's palpable. It's so fun to watch. So yeah, it's great.
Well, Aaron, I know that that especially the Columbus fans have high hopes for Carmen's crew, especially because you're a past champion, and have won those big dollars. And I know that makes it fun, not only for bragging rights, but there is that incentive to win that money too. So how does that change how you train or what your goals are?
Yeah, my answer is probably going to disappoint you a little bit, but I think the first year, we made it to the Final Four and lost. I think that year we thought about the money more than the year we won. The year we won, we just, we put the team together. We said, hey, we have a great group of guys. Let's just see what happens. There wasn't a ton of talk about money. Honestly, the expectation probably wasn't there until we made it to Chicago, and we're like, hey, we're a couple games away from like winning this thing. So I think the more, for us at least, the less we thought about the money, the better it was for us. We were able to lock in and focus on ourselves and what we think we're capable of, and how we can disrupt and play with anyone that we happen to come across in the bracket, versus, all right, I want to do this to get to the money. If you ask, I would say most of the guys on the team, I think they would back my sentiment of that. We love playing together. It's a great opportunity for us to do that, and the money is just a great, as much as awesome it is, it's just something great that's on the side that is a huge bonus if you're able to make it that way.
Great. Well, I know that we're already at that time to ask some questions. I see that we have some in the queue. So I'm going to turn it over to Riley Newhart, and then we'll come back together after the questions.
Yeah, so a couple good questions. The first one for Jen, has there been any progress in creating a women's TBT? I know there's been some pro women players who have kind of dabbled in joining a team maybe before, but what does that look like?
Yeah, putting me on the spot there. There has been some progress in that. Yes, I mean, TBT in its current format is open. Last weekend we had a woman on the court with the Founding Fathers team, which is the JMU team, and yes, we have thought a lot about that, and we'll have more to say on that hopefully this fall.
Exciting stuff. Another good question from the audience for Aaron. You just talked about how the money isn't everything, but how much med school would your share of $1 million pay for?
Yeah, less than you think, for sure. Not it wouldn't get me all the way through med school. Let's just put it that way. So it would be very helpful. It'd be very helpful in med school. It'd be very helpful, right, spoiling my son, and I'm sure my daughter will find ways to get me to spend money that I normally wouldn't. So anything helps.
Great.
I'm all done. Linda, back to you.
All right. Well, I think that I'd love for Jen and Aaron to talk a little bit about how fans can still get tickets. What does the schedule look like for the rest of the weekend, not only on television, but in person?
Yeah, well, games start here tomorrow. Our team has already been on the ground for several days, setting up Cavelli. My understanding, Cavelli, obviously for people in Columbus, you guys all know this better than I do, as a new venue, typically is not a basketball venue. It's awesome. I think the atmosphere will be awesome. We've done a good job selling tickets here. I think there are, again, so a lot of teams that are coming here. It's going to be a tough region. And so there, each of those teams has sort of a fan base following them here. But as Aaron said, I think, Carmen's crew and all the other teams can use support. And we have 4 games tomorrow, 4 games Saturday. The entire schedule can be found on our website, thetournament.com.
All right, great. So I know, Aaron, you probably have a big following. Will there be a lot of friends and family in the stands?
I hope so. I think not only for myself, but our team, we were trying to figure out how to divvy up the tickets that the TBT actually gives us as a team. And it's not an easy thing to do. For me, fortunately, my son will be asleep probably by 7:30. So Amber will stay here and watch on TV. So the 9 o'clock start is helpful for my side, but I know I have, my grandparents love to come. They bought tickets. I have a couple friends coming. So it's a great time. In last year, not being able to play in front of fans, this is the first time since, early last March that I'll be in a court with fans. So I'm just really looking forward to it. Hope everyone can come out. And I know, as Jen said, the region is stacked. So every team I think is capable of winning a couple games. So even if, you're not coming to watch us, you're going to see great basketball regardless of which game you go to. So would highly recommend it. It's on the weekend. It's going to be pretty hot outside. So if you want to get inside in a cooler weather, I don't think there's anything better to do in Columbus this weekend.
So we do have another question in the chat that really does expand on what you just said, just the level of play and the fact that teams probably are on a waiting list now to get in. Is there any talk to expanding the brackets in the future?
We always think about that. I think this year, maybe 110 teams applied for the 64 spots. So there are a lot of teams that unfortunately are very good that we have to say no to every year. One group ran their own 16 team tournament for their spot that they purchased. So that's an interesting, there's some interesting thought around that model. But yeah, we talk about it a lot. I mean, it is hard to say no to anybody, right? Because some of those teams that aren't getting in could be very competitive in the tournament as well. So it's not really my area, but it is something we talk about a lot.
Well, great. Well, before we close, I wanted to give you both a chance to, in case there was anything that else you wanted to add, or maybe I didn't ask you, just to share with Columbus.
Yeah, I mean, I want to thank you guys for having us here every year and for being great partners with us. I know that sounds like that was like practice, but it definitely wasn't. We really do enjoy this city and being here and getting to know it. And I'm super excited to play at Cavelli. It's a brand new, beautiful venue, and we've been trying to play on campus. Obviously, it was difficult last year. So it's a culmination of a lot of years of planning and work, and we're really excited about it.
Great, thanks. How about you, Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I just echo, obviously, I love Columbus. I'm from Findlay, but, for the last decade, Columbus has been home. So there's a reason we come back, and I love it. I love being part of the university and just being around the city. So just thankful to be here, thankful for the city, and there's always a ton to do. So thankful for everyone out there. I appreciate you guys, and hopefully see you guys on Friday.
Great. Well, thanks to everybody for joining us today, and good luck to Carmen's crew. We'll be cheering you on. So thanks, everyone.
Bye.